Well, momentum is building behind the upcoming social media ban for Australians aged 16 years or younger. Now, merit here, absolutely no argument that kids need parameters and protections online, but there's real concern when a noble goal like this evolves into government-driven censorship. We know already that Australia's e-safety commissioner is pushing for tighter regulation, so how do we get the balance right? Toby Young is a member of Britain's House of Lords. He's the founder of the Free Speech Union, and he's been pretty vocal about Britain's Online Safety Act, which has spiralled into a bureaucratic big brother. He'll soon be in Australia to give the annual oration for the Robert Menzies Institute. He joins me now from London. Toby, great to have your company. The wheels have certainly fallen off your laws in the UK. So what do we need to know about what's happened there so we can hopefully avoid it here in Australia?
Well, the main problem with the implementation of the Online Safety Act in the UK so far is that various social media companies have been told they have to age gate content. In our case, content that isn't suitable for people under the age of 18 rather than 16. And what we've seen happening is social media companies like X and Facebook age gating content that really isn't content that's unsuitable for children. So, for instance, a Labour MP making a speech in the House of Commons, no, a Conservative MP making a speech in the House of Commons about the grooming gangs, that was age-gated, footage of people being arrested at anti-immigration protests. And it seems like there's a pattern here, content that seems to support a right-wing narrative that's going to lead to people voting for our populist insurgent party is much more likely to be deemed unsuitable for children than content promoting left-wing narratives. So we're seeing political bias creep into what content is age-gated by the social media companies.
So plenty of footage of Greta Thunberg and her Gaza flotilla and pro-Palestinian protests will make the grade. But Australians out there with the flag, or Brits out there with the flag on St George's Day or something like that, that's the point you're making. That stuff will find its way to the bin.
Yes, and I think the problem could reproduce itself in Australia when it comes to age gating what people are able to search for on search engines like Google, for instance. But it's less of a problem when it comes to age gating social media content, because over here, it's just some social media content that's being age gated. But in Australia, obviously, it's all social media content that is going to be age gated. So if you're under 16, you won't be able to access it at all. I mean, I think there are various concerns which haven't really been addressed by Ofcom, our online regulator. And I'm not sure the E-Safety Commission has really done enough to address these concerns either. Like, how do you protect anonymity online? If people have to prove that they are over 16 in order to open a social media account, how do you preserve anonymity? And that has implications for people who want to blow the whistle on government corruption, former Muslims who want to criticize members of their old communities, political refugees from authoritarian regimes. Another difficulty is, well, how do you stop kids who want to open social media accounts getting around the age verification by using VPNs? Well, you could ban VPNs, and there's talk of banning VPNs now by the British government, but that puts you in the same territory as countries like North Korea, Belarus, Turkmenistan, Iraq. Do you really want to be in the same bracket as those countries by banning VPNs? So I think that's a problem. And there are privacy concerns too. People are nervous about handing over their data when needing to prove that they are over 18 in order to access, the adult content on social media. They're concerned that if they enter all their details, if they put in their credit card details, for instance, that won't be protected. That'll leak. So there are privacy concerns too.
Look, I don't trust the government to get it right. They had a whole lot of stuff in terms of COVID gateways at a government level that just were not operable here in Australia. And we've got an online medical collection portal, for health records. I certainly won't put my health record in there. So I am dubious, to say the least. Talk to me about the arrests in the UK as a result of the crackdown there on online disinformation.
Yes, so there was a report in the Daily Telegraph over here in February, about a year after various criminal offences, new criminal offences, had been introduced by the Online Safety Act. So they were introduced in January 24. So a year later, the Telegraph looked at how many people had been arrested and charged with those new criminal offences, and it was over 300. And a significant minority of those were people charged with a new offence under the Act, which makes it a crime punishable by 51 weeks in jail to knowingly publish false information that's likely to cause non-trivial psychological or physical harm to a likely audience. Now, that's quite vague language. How do you really precisely define non-trivial psychological harm? But some people have been jailed in the UK for breaching that new criminal offence. And I think one of the difficulties with it is not just defining what is non-trivial psychological harm. I mean, do you take account of just how psychologically fragile the person is who's been harmed? Another difficulty is it makes the state the final arbiter of what's true and what isn't. And I'm not particularly comfortable with granting the state that power.
Now, if you're at home and you're thinking, "Gee, I like the cut of this bloke's jib, he's making a lot of sense, and these are big issues here in Australia." He is speaking at the Robert Menzies Institute Oration Dinner on September 24. It is in Melbourne. And you're speaking on having the courage to disagree. Toby, we're out of time, but I'm putting the information up there. I hope that people will come along to the dinner. I'll certainly be there. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Forward to catching up with you in Melbourne. Toby Young there.